Between 2011 and 2013, Najib Razak received some $1 billion in foreign funds from Saudi Arabia, $681 million from Tanor Finance Corporation, and $200 million allegedly gifts and donations from Saudi royals. The court heard today how fugitive businessman Jho Low had a hand in the transfer of funds straight into the former PM's account. The witness said she didn't know who the bigger boss was, Najib or Jho Low. By the Malaysian Insight, this is The People versus Najib Razak. Follow us into the courtroom where it all happens. I'm Patrick Teo. On day 44 of the SRC International trial, Najib wore a grey suit with a silver tie. He also wore a huge smile on his face as he arrived in court this morning. At least 20 supporters were waiting at the court porch for the former PM. Among them was a group of women in red hijabs from Pekan, Najib's parliamentary constituency, some 4 hours away from Kuala Lumpur by car. He thanked them warmly for coming all the way to see him and indulged them a photo opportunity. They followed him to the lift, where Najib took the lift up to Judge Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali's courtroom on the 5th floor. At the sound of the buzzer, Najib made his way into the accused dock as Judge Nazlan entered the courtroom. A new witness, the prosecution's 55th, took the stand. Ranjit Singh is a lawyer who's been in practice for more than 31 years. He spoke clearly and loudly. Ranjit had represented former MCA President Ling Leong Sik in the 2015 defamation suit Najib had brought against him. Najib had tried to sue Ling for saying, and I quote, "You ambil orang punya duit, taruh dalam akaun sendiri. Mana boleh?" The suit was withdrawn in 2018. Ranjit said Ling was referring to money that was transferred from Gandingan Mentari and Ihsan Perdana into Najib's account. DPP V. Sitambaram proceeded to go through the various documents in relation to the suit. Najib's lead defense counsel, Shafi Abdullah, told Judge Nazlan that for the purpose of prima facie, Ranjit's statement was not relevant and that the defense will be filing a submission to this effect. Sitam quickly interjected and said the prosecution will be filing a submission too. After a few questions from defense lawyer Havinderjit Singh, the witness was let go. Prosecutor Sitam asked for a 10-minute break. The judge obliged. Najib, who was slouched in the dock, went out for a breather. Joanna Yu, the M-Bank relationship manager, took the stand next. It's her 4th day in court, and Harvey continued scrutiny of chat logs from her BlackBerry phone, which was seized by Bank Negara. The lawyer honed in on conversations between her, former SRC CEO Nick Faisal Arif Kamil, and fugitive businessman Jho Low. The conversation revolved around the $1 billion of foreign money. Ray, can you tell us more?
Last week, the defense asked for early adjournment of court because they needed to go through chat logs taken from Joanna's phone. There are 500 pages of them. Harvey's questions today centered on Najib's M-Bank account ending with 694. Joanna confirmed between 2011 and 2013, close to $1 billion was transferred into his accounts. Of this, $200 million was transferred into the account from Saudi. These were supposedly gifts and donations from Saudi Arabia. In the conversation, Jho Low had asked for these transactions to be kept confidential as they were super sensitive. Then in 2013, $681 million was moved into Najib's account from Tanor Finance Corporation. Tanor is the main subject in Najib's upcoming 1MDB trial. DPP Sitam interrupted Harvey, saying his line of questioning was not relevant. Harvey said it was relevant because the chat transcripts show that Jho Low was the one communicating with the bank when the funds were being moved into Najib's accounts. Judge Nazlan allowed him to go on. Based on the chat logs, Jho Low had informed Joanna about the incoming funds. She had replied that the bank needed a letter to indicate that these funds were also gifts. Harvey said that based on the logs, it doesn't seem like Joanna was trying to hide any of the transactions. In fact, a lot of people knew about it. Joanna, of course, agreed and said there was nothing to hide. By the way, this was quite a turnabout from last week when Harvey had repeatedly called Joanna a rogue banker and accused her of lying.
The chat transcript showed that Joanna was in contact with Jho Low, regularly updating him about the transfers. Harvey put it to her that the directions and instructions came from Jho Low, and Joanna said, "It appears so." Harvey asked her if she had lied to her superiors, intentionally or otherwise. Joanna answered, "Why would I do that?" She added that she did not hide any of the transactions from the authorities. Court broke for lunch and Najib left the premises. When court reconvened, Harvey brought up a lunch rendezvous between Joanna and Jho Low. The lawyer said that during this lunch, Joanna had handed the businessman checkbooks for Najib's accounts. Jho had also returned old checkbooks and told Joanna to destroy them, but she didn't, as it wasn't the bank's procedure to do so. Harvey suggested that Jho gave instructions and Nick Faisal was merely formalizing the instructions, as he was the mandate holder for the accounts. The witness agreed. The lawyer also pointed that she had communicated more with Jho Low than with Nick Faisal. Harvey pressed Joanna about this for a long time. He kept circling back to the fact that Jho Low was in control of Najib's accounts because he had facilitated transactions for those accounts. At times, he also approved inter-account transfers. Joanna confirmed this, but asserted that she did not know if Nick Faisal was merely following Jho's instructions. Harvey then brought up Najib's constantly overdrawn accounts. Between October 2014 and January 2015, Jho Low had instructed Joanna on 4 occasions to ensure AmBank does not bounce the former PM's checks. Low was desperate, Harvey suggested, and Joanna agreed. The chat logs detailed how she told Nick Faisal and Low to stop issuing checks when there wasn't enough money in those accounts, effectively telling them off. In another conversation with Nick Faisal, he mentions Big Boss. Harvey asked if he meant Jho Low. Joanna said it was most likely the account holder, who was Najib, but added she didn't know who the bigger boss was between the two. The court erupted in laughter. Even Najib, who had been stoic throughout the day, laughed along. Soon, the court stood down for the day. The trial will continue on Wednesday at 9 a.m. as tomorrow is a public holiday. This podcast is produced, written and mixed by Revati Supramaniam, Yapik Kwan, Yvonne Lim and Ravin Palanisamy. Additional reporting by Timothy Acharyam. I'm Patrick Teo.